Hello everybody. If you are joining the recording, skip forward a little bit until we get into it, just because I'll be waiting for everyone to join. Hi Amy. Hello everybody joining. Hello. Join. Hi, I'm just waiting for everyone to come in. There's always a little bit of a delay. Lots of you coming in, amazing. How is everyone doing? How's everyone's day been? Or how's everyone's morning so far? Super excited to chat to you guys about this stuff, and Jelly is just down there being super annoying. Hi everyone. Okay, so today we are talking about men. Now, this is something that obviously is very close to my heart, as you guys know. I love men. I love talking about them, I love helping them, all that kind of stuff, and I am super excited for my new program, Be a Lover, Not a Mother. So I'm going to go through some of the stuff about that today, and anyone that's interested, you can ask questions, and I also want to kind of talk to you about why I made this and why it's super important. So as a lot of you would know, like, men's mental health is generally speaking, worse than women's in terms of their suicide rate, the fact that society kind of deems it unacceptable for men to go and like get help, to feel like they need emotional support, you know, even the way society emasculates men of like, you know, you need to have a beer every night, or, you know, you have to enjoy the footy and enjoy watching soccer or AFL. Like the different ways that society emasculates men and puts a lot of pressure on men means that men also have their own shit to deal with. And as a lot of you guys would know, and I talk about this pretty fucking openly, that it's concerning to me how men's empowerment isn't as prevalent as women's. Now, this is not to invalidate the need for women's empowerment. I do it. Like, it's not that at all. It's just that, you know, a lot of the way that we go about empowering women at the same time subconsciously disempowers men. And this is where we're getting this problem now in society where all these really empowered women are like, where are the men doing the work? Or where are the men taking the lead? I want men that, like, where is the chivalry? So many women say, where is the chivalry? And at the same time, they're emasculating men. And what I really want you guys to understand is that when it comes to emasculating men, a lot of it is done very, very subconsciously. Like, literally, you wouldn't even know that you're doing it until you learn this stuff and become heavily aware of it. Because even sometimes I'll catch myself and be like, oh shit, that actually could have been quite emasculating. And you don't even realize it because it is so ingrained into us as women and even like as a society. So when you're learning this sort of stuff and being able to embody this kind of work around, Jelly, shut up. What are you doing? He's running around like a spastic. He's doing zoomies. When you are able to get to a place where you're really embodied in empowering men as well, as a result, you actually empower yourself. And I think a lot of people sometimes think that if we empower men, we're disempowering women, when actually it's the opposite. As you empower men, you empower women, you empower the feminine. A lot of people don't realize this, but you know, in order for you to be embodied in your feminine as a woman, you have to have the safety of the masculine within yourself and from the world around you. Now, if you don't feel safe around men, you're not going to feel safe to be embodied in your feminine. You're not going to feel safe to be the feminine in a partnership. You're not going to feel safe to be in the fucking world, because newsflash, half the world is men. So a lot of you guys would know that I do a lot of stuff with trauma work, and the safety component is key with like everything. And a lot of women don't realize that subconsciously they actually feel unsafe in the world because they hate men so much. And you wouldn't actively be in your head be like, oh, I fucking hate men. You wouldn't be saying that in your head like consciously. It'd be a very, very subconscious belief around men. Things like men only want one thing. All men are douchebags, men are dickheads, they just want sex. Why are all men emotionally unavailable? Those kind of things that you say in the back of your mind, you are then living them out in your life because that's what you believe. So just to preface, when we're talking about like, let's stop emasculating men, like, you know, men are really good, like they don't want to hurt you, X, Y, and Z. I'm talking about the majority of men, right? There are douchebag men out there, of course, and there are douchebag women. And as some of you guys would know, I've been conducting this survey, which I'm going to I'm going to talk a lot about it in Be a Lover, Not a Mother, and using a lot of what I have been able to gather from this survey from all the men that have been doing it. And if you're a man listening, I'd be really grateful for you to do it. You can send me a DM and I'll send you the link. Otherwise, if you're a woman watching, I would really be grateful if you could send it to your male friends. It takes a little bit of time, but it's really important stuff. And guys, just for women to understand here, I'm going to tell you guys this, and we're going to go more into it in the program. So make sure you join that if you're interested, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. The answers that I'm getting in this survey are fucking heartbreaking. You know, things saying, like, the things that men are saying are like, I just wish that I could be chivalrous without being worried of how a woman was going to take it. I wish that I could share my emotions without being worried how it's going to be perceived. Things like men saying, you know, I wish women knew that, like, we had feelings too. We have desires too. We don't just want sex. Like, this is what men are fucking saying. You know, there's stories in there, even ladies, of men having their own sexual assault, men being abused when they're kids. And because they're men, it's not valid. And when I'm saying it like that, essentially they're telling me these stories, right, of how these things have happened to them. And when they tell people about them, they get told they're wrong. What? When a woman is told that she's wrong, like if you were to tell someone, like, I was raped, and your friend was to be like, no, you weren't, you'd be like, fuck off, right? And that's so now, like, it's so looked down upon now in society for a man to not believe a woman when she says X, Y, and Z happened. But when a man shares, I was sexually assaulted or I've been abused, all of a sudden it's like, no, you weren't, you're fine, you're a man. It's like, oh, so because they're a man, they're fine. And this is the problem that we're seeing of men's experiences are becoming invalidated because all of a sudden, like, they're the sex that's just fine. And a lot of the things that are being said in the survey as well, that's actually a reoccurring theme, is I wish that the gender of men isn't being put into the box of the bad gender. As in, we're always bad. Like, before I open my mouth, this is what they're writing. Before I open my mouth, I am assumed to be a misogynist, and I am assumed to be the person in the wrong. And whilst sometimes men are in the wrong, sometimes they're not. Sometimes women are in the wrong. And so what's really happening is there's this silent war between the genders. Instead of us just being really fucking real and being like, no, there are shitty humans out there, and there are great humans out there. So when you can really start to actually live in harmony with men, and you can respect men, and you can be in your own feminine, and you feel empowered as a woman, and so therefore you can feel empowered to empower men, and you have boundaries within yourself, you will find this new level of harmony where you don't feel like you're subconsciously angry at men all the time. And it's really important stuff, right? Because if you're wanting to live in harmony with half of the world, it's important shit for you to do. Anyway, so and you guys can ask me questions about this if you want to, because there's so much I could talk about that questions always steer me in the right direction. Bottom line is, emasculation is something that women do very, very subconsciously, and they don't realize that they're doing it. Think of it like this, ladies, and there's an episode coming out maybe next Tuesday, I think it is, about emasculation, or maybe it's this weekend. I can't remember when I did it. One of the two. Think about it like this. As a woman, if you're a woman watching this, if someone was to shame you, you would feel like you go in your cocoon, right? Correct. Think of it like that when you emasculate a man. When you emasculate a man, think of it like you squishing him and being like, you're not enough, you're wrong. Like, the way you are is not enough for me, and the way that you are is wrong. That is what emasculation feels like. There's an episode with my friend John, and we talk about emasculation. He actually describes for himself what it feels like. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said it was like you're a turtle and you just go into your shell. You just want a cocoon. You don't want to be with that person anymore because they make you feel shit. And while someone DM me being like, men need to learn how to compliment women. Like, yeah, okay, of course. We all need to learn how to compliment each other, I think we can fucking say. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the specific scenario of the amount of women that shame men, and they do it from a place of deep-seated anger. So why I'm harping on about this is that it's actually pretty much normally a subconscious pattern. You don't consciously do it, right? And if the man that you're with is an asshole, then like you have every right to emasculate him. And if the woman that you're with as a man is a fucking bitch, then you have every right to tell her she's a bitch, right? So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that in these specific scenarios where you love the man that you're with, for example, you're probably emasculating him. If you haven't done this work around emasculation and around men and around forgiving men, you're probably emasculating him and not even fucking realizing it. because it is the anger that women hold towards men from years ago, the anger that we hold towards them, unless you've worked on that and unless you understand it and you've been able to alchemize that, you're still holding on to anger towards men. And that anger and that bitterness and that fuck you towards men is coming out in the way of emasculation, shaming men, making them feel like they're wrong, they're not enough, they're less of a man, X, Y, and Z. And, you know, in society now, it's become like this trend to be this independent woman. I don't need no man. And as a result, women, and this is, guys, studies, this is that shit that's like in studies. I'm not fucking pulling this out of thin air, right? Studies have shown that despite women have more rights than ever before in history, we are also the most unhappy and unsatisfied in history. And there is absolutely a link in there with the fact that we have lost touch with our true desires of what really makes us happy. And a lot of my clients have realized this year during COVID that they want a simpler life. They want to do less. They want to be looked after. They want to know that they cannot work and there'll be food on the table. They want to be able to go on holidays. They want to just be with their man, raise some kids. This is just an example. You don't have to want this. Be with their man, raise some kids, have a fucking veggie patch and chill out and read a book during the day. A lot of people have realized this year they want a simpler life. And a lot of women have finally realized, fuck, like working day in, day out doesn't make me happy. And that is you tuning into your core desires as a woman. And a lot of women have been totally suppressed in this arena. And they think that what makes them happy, when it actually doesn't, deep, deep, deep down, they think that working all day, not being in a partnership, being single, and partying at night, because that feeds their little bit of addiction of like, I need validation. Right? They think that makes them happy. They think that dating is harder than being single. They think that all men are assholes. And it's these kind of patterns that are being wound into us through the media, through TV, and through societal conditioning that's making women have this illusion that their lives are better without men, and as a result, women are actually unhappier, and men feel like there's no place for them in society. And I brought this up with clients before, when the woman is doing everything in the relationship. She's making all the money, looks after the kids, has the job, does the house, she does everything. The man kind of like has really stepped back in the relationship, and it's because he doesn't have a purpose in the relationship. A lot of men actually are like, wait, what's my purpose now? Women can do everything without me. And that's not to say that we can't. We absolutely can. But my argument is we can do everything without men, but it's way more fun to have them in our lives, right? So back in the olden days, women relied more on men for protection, for being provided for money, for financing, food on the table, X, Y, and Z. Now, a lot of modern women are doing it all themselves. And so men feel like, where is my place? And a lot of us as women, we haven't learned at school or through programs yet or whatever of how to be all of that and be Miss Independent, whilst also creating the space for a man and a masculine man that wants to lead so you can surrender to be in your life. And that is what I want you guys to guide. That's what I'm going to be guiding you guys to be embodying yourselves in Be a Lover, Not a Mother. I'm an independent woman. I live alone. I have my own place. I pay my own rent. I make a lot of money. I have my own business. I live on the other side of the world as my family, X, Y, and Z. But it does not mean that I have no space for a man in my life. It does not mean that I take the lead in the relationship. It does not mean that I pay for everything. It does not mean any of that, because I've learned how to still be all of me whilst also creating the space for him. And that's what's really important. So this is not about pushing your man to be in the masculine. This is not about dimming your light or changing you to be a lesser version of yourself. This is about how can you be you and have the space in your life. It's about being the muse, being the inspiration for him to step into his masculine leadership. The worst thing that you can do is shove this stuff on a man and like think that by you forcing him to take more of the lead or read a book or be in his masculine, be a man, the worst thing that you can say to a man, by you telling him to be more masculine or whatever or take more of the lead, that's not gonna make him do that, right? You need to create the space and be the fucking light for him to do that. And that comes from you actually learning how to properly communicate with men and how to make him feel empowered to be that man, make him feel safe to be that man. So many men don't feel safe to be that man because these days they're worried that if they are that man, they're going to be labeled as dominating in a bad way. They're going to be labeled as a misogynist, They're going to be labeled as overbearing. They're going to be labeled as controlling or a narcissist. So many men are worried that if they make one wrong move, it's going to come bite them in the ass. And and this is in my fucking survey I'm conducting, guys. I'm not making this shit up and I'm not pulling it out of thin air, right? So many men want to do all of these chivalrous things, but they are afraid to. They are afraid of what we will do as like the consequence, or what we will say, or how we will like shut them down. And that's the problem, because it's not allowing men to be their full selves in a relationship. And as a result, women are complaining about men, but it's pretty much our fault because we're not the ones letting them be who they want to be. Just like we ask men to be our allies for all the women's support, just like we ask men to allow us to be our full selves in a relationship, we also need to cultivate the same environment for them to be their full selves in the relationship too. And it's a healthy way to live your life, and it is a fucking freeing way to live your life, because for a lot of you that work with men, that work in a corporate workplace, or that have men in your lives, and most of us have men in our lives, it's very triggering and very hard if you're constantly trying to, be somebody else and have this like untalked tension in the office where men are afraid to be like, you look beautiful today, just because they want to compliment you. Just like we compliment our girlfriends being like, you look amazing. Men want to do that too, and they've written it in the survey. I asked them a question of like, what is something that you wish that you could do more of, but you're like really afraid to do? Like, what I think the exact question was like, what is something that you would love to say if you knew that there was nothing bad that would happen in return? And the amount of men, ladies, that were like, I wish I could compliment a woman just for complimenting her. I'm not asking for sex. I just want to tell her she looks nice. I wish I could ask a woman where she got her clothes from, so I would know some present ideas for my partner without this woman being worried that it was harassment. I wish I could open the door for a woman just because I want to be a decent human being. I wish I could, like, these are the kind of things men are saying, and it's all coming from a loving space of them wishing they could be more loving towards us without worrying about the consequences. But so many men, and I hear so many stories, and there are stories in here in the survey, which I am excited to discuss more with you guys that are already in B11 on a mother, and those that are coming through. I can feel you all coming. It's heartbreaking, but it's so eye-opening. And if you feel like you're a woman that you can't attract a really healthy man into your life, and you don't have good relationships with men, I would really recommend you joining this program, because the chances are you deep down fucking hate men. And let me tell you, because I am now this person, because I'm me, right? And a lot of you guys know, like, if you're listening to this, it's live. Because of these things that I talk about, Sweden, because of the things that I talk about on all my Instagrams and just in conversation with men, the amount of men that feel safe to come and talk to me is mind-blowing. I have men messaging me of like, oh, there's a new case in the news of like so-and-so getting fired because he said this. I had more messages yesterday from one of my friends being like, oh, like a teacher got sacked because he was talking about the biology of like men and women and how like men are stronger. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So what, now we can't talk about biology when I am all here for biology? The fact is, men are stronger than women. The fact is, men are made to fight, to hunt, to provide, all that kind of stuff. And women are made to gather and to nurture and connect. Now, that does not mean that we can't be strong as women. That does not mean that we can't fight if we needed to. Like, that's why we have fucking adrenals and adrenaline, so we can get out of those situations. It just means that men are better equipped for that, and women are better equipped for the nurturing and for the connection and all that kind of stuff. And so many people are fighting against biology, and they're doing it because they think it makes them a better person in society, when really the reality is, you know what makes you feel like a better person? Being more of you. And the more that I've done this work around men and been able to talk about this, so many men feel safe to be their full selves. Men feel safe around me. Men feel amazing around me because they're not afraid to take the lead, whether it's friends or more. They know that they can say things to me and I'm not going to take it personally. And it's refreshing, right? Because they want to say those things without being worried that it will be twisted. Guys, women, imagine living your life, and I know some of us, we have to live our lives being worried that men will hurt us. I'm not denying that. That's a separate argument. I am not invalidating that whatsoever. This is an and, not a but. This is an and scenario. And imagine as a man being constantly worried that if you said one wrong thing to a woman, you could have a lawsuit slapped across your fucking face and it could be the end of your life. And it has happened to too many men where they've done nothing wrong, but they've been wrongly accused, and everyone takes the woman's side. Now, I'm not saying that the woman's side shouldn't necessarily be taken in some arguments. I'm saying the problem is that we are immediately assuming that men are wrong instead of looking at both sides. We're not looking at both sides. It's weird. We're in this world where we're like, we want to create equality, but we're creating more inequality because we're making it that like women are better than men. It's a silent war against men. And it needs to stop. And by doing this, you're helping your future sons, you're helping the men in your lives, you're helping the men that you don't even know, you're helping yourself. Like, honestly, ladies, the more that I have fallen in love with men and realizing how genuine majority of them are, just like how genuine majority of women are. Some women are fucking bitches. We've all had them from school and sisterhood wounding. Some women are terrible, some men are terrible. But the more that I have let go of my armor around men, and the more that I have opened my heart to them and realized how fucking amazing they are, one, I have attracted better men into my life, and two, I'm more in my feminine because I feel safer around men. I feel so much safer in my feminine radiance and my essence because I'm not afraid that men are going to do the wrong thing with it. Because when I look at a man, my first thing isn't like he's a dick or like, oh, what's he going to think? What's he going to do? I now immediately assume there's love behind everything a man does. I don't immediately assume it's for like the wrong reasons. And a lot of women do it. I used to have the belief that men just want one thing. It was drilled into me from when I was young. Men just want one thing. Men just want one thing. Now, if you go around thinking that, what will you attract in? Men that want one thing, right? Or what will you do? You'll sabotage every relationship and you'll attract in just shitty people because you don't believe that there are good men out there. And it's so funny, right? So many corporate women especially that are just like super in their masculine, but like a lot of women that aren't corporate are also this. They're like, where can I find good men? I really want a good man. Like, I just want to attract an amazing man. Why aren't men chivalrous anymore? Why don't men do all these kind of things anymore? Blah, 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 right? Guilty, right? And then at the same time, they won't let a man open the door. They won't let a man pay. They'll be like, no, we have to split the bill. We can split the bill. They won't let a man choose the date or take the lead or tell them, meet me here at this place, X, Y, and Z. But when you're talking to me, you're like, oh, I just wish he would tell me like the place and time to arrive. But when he does that, you like say something that makes him not want to do it or whatever, right? There's something else that happens, and there's so many different scenarios the way that it could go down. But the reality is that it's like so many of you are talking to your girlfriends of like, why are men like this? I want a man that just like brings me flowers and knows how to open the door and like does shit for me. But then you also hate men at the same time. So it's like, what? It makes no fucking sense, right? It's catch-22. So this is why this work's really important. Okay, so jumping into Be a Lover, Not a Mother. For any of you that are wondering, you can ask me any questions about it. It is different to Queen Alchemy. So I feel like this program has been brewing, honestly, for like a year because I wanted to create something like this for so long, but I hadn't figured out how to do it. And then the download came through. The name came through. The download came through. It all just came through. So it's 4 weeks and it's not as intense as Queen Alchemy. So I know that it's running over Christmas, but it's the perfect time. One, because I'm going to be in fucking the vibiest place in Zermatt. And two, you are going to be around a lot of men with like Christmas things, with family, with going out to restaurants and X, Y, and Z. So it's a really good time for you to actually practice it, which is the most important thing. So the time commitment is not nearly as intense as Queen Alchemy. The calls are 1 hour long, not like 2.5. You don't have to, there's not a million videos in the portal. You don't have to do a fuck ton of embodiment exercise. It's a lot of learning stuff. It's not deep trauma work. Deep trauma stuff is Queen Alchemy. It's a lot more learning and understanding and being like, holy shit, like all the fucking chicken nuggets, and you really becoming aware of things that you were never ever aware of. There will be a little bit of homework, like there will be some exercises for you to do, like practice things, but nothing really intense, nothing that will take a lot of time out of your day whatsoever. So it's not a hectic time commitment whatsoever. And it's only 4 weeks. So it's not like it's a ginormously long thing. You get access to it forever, and it's a lot more like, it's just all about men, right? It's all about men. The beginning of the first week, we do a little bit with like womb and heart connection, so you feel really grounded in your body and really safe in the feminine, of course. And then we jump straight into like, what is emasculation? How do we do it? the signs that you need to look out for, how to stop doing it, all that kind of stuff. And we do that for 4 weeks. We do a lot on how to communicate with men, how to talk to men, how to get what you want. When you're trying to a lot of women like communicate with men, they're trying to get something like from them, or they need something and they don't communicate it the right way, so they never get what they need or what they want. So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to go through how to make sure that you're not being a mum to the man in your life, but you're being that lover or a friend, depending if it's like a romantic relationship or a platonic relationship. We're going to go through other things like how to get your man to lead, like how to inspire him to lead. If there is ever a time for emasculation, like how do we navigate that? All those kind of things. So there's a lot on communicating with men, being in relationships with men, whether it's friendship or more, it does not matter. So you do not need to be in a relationship to do this at all. This is like if you are a woman that wants to have a healthy relationship with men in your life, do this fucking program. It will blow your mind. So every woman needs this. Thank you for everything. You raise awareness for Monica. Thank you so much. So Queen Alchemy, we do a little bit on emasculation and understanding men and that kind of stuff, but we don't do 4 weeks on it. So even if you've done Queen Alchemy, this is different content. I have rewritten the whole thing. There will be small amounts of overlapping because like it's me. So it's like, of course it's going to be like maybe little things that you've heard me say before, but just like in a podcast, there will be the tiny bit of overlapping will be the women heart connection stuff, but I've actually even tweaked it so it's a little bit different. It might feel a bit familiar, but it's going to be different to Queen Alchemy. So if you've done Queen Alchemy, Baba, my mastermind, when I used to run that before I blended it with Queen Alchemy, if you've done any of my other programs, you can still do this one. I'm very like good now at separating my programs so they're all different, so there isn't a hectic overlap. So you can do all of them and not feel like 2 of them are really, really similar. So whilst Queen Alchemy and the men's one may feel a little bit similar in that we're talking about feminine, masculine, it will be very different. Now, this is also really important for anyone that feels like they have no discipline and no discernment in their life and they are terrible with their own inner masculine. If you have a terrible relationship with the men in your life and the masculine energy, you're going to have that within yourself as well. So if you feel like you are shit at discipline and discernment and direction and motivating yourself and productivity, then you also need to heal your relationship with the masculine and with men so you can do that and be a lover, not a mother as well. What else? The calls go for an hour. First 2 calls are going to be in Switzerland. I'm going to post a picture later of where they're going to be in the penthouse. It's a fucking vibe. Can you guys please, actually, one thing I would ask from you all is that apparently the French and Swiss borders are going to be really strict now, but it's going to be a random check. So I'm like, oh, we're fine. But can you guys all please send all the witchy manifesting vibes towards us that we will get through the borders, because I really don't want to fly because I can't fly easily with jelly, and we really want to drive, and I really want to drive. So if you guys can all please send the manifesting vibes that we will get to Switzerland, because 1, I really need this fucking holiday, and 2, you guys want to see the effing vibes on Instagram, because let me tell you, this place is fucked that we're staying. I'm everything wrong that you were talking about. So don't think of it like there's something wrong with you, because we didn't learn this shit. Thank you. We didn't learn this shit at school. That's why I'm doing this, guys. I wish we learned this shit at school. It is so important. This isn't just like, oh, would be nice to know. This is like a must. This stuff, like everything that I teach, maybe besides the spells, is like a must. Like you must heal your relationship with money. You must fix all your trauma. You must heal your period. You must heal your relationship with men. This stuff isn't like oh, would be nice. It's like if you want to live a good life and you want to have that inner peace, inner freedom, and for shit to feel easy, this is like a must to know, must to do kind of program. What else do you guys want to know about the program? I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's important that I feel like I should tell you guys, content wise. So we do a lot of stuff on emasculation so that you know how to not emasculate anymore. We do a lot of stuff on like, how do you emasculate, so you know how you're doing it, and then how to stop doing it and what to do instead. Oh yeah, I do a lot of stuff with you guys on wording around, like, you know, when sometimes I say to my clients, okay, tell me what you actually want to say to him. Like, you can be a bitch, it's fine. Tell me what you want to say to him, and I'm gonna like tell you the right words to say back. So we're gonna do a lot of that. So let's say, for example, you want to say to him, why the fuck do you never clean the dishes? I'm gonna then change that language for you and tell you how to say it to him so you get what you want, aka you would like him to clean the dishes a bit more. So we're going to do a lot of stuff around communication. As you guys know, I'm really good at talking. I'm a very good communicator. So we're going to do a lot around communication as well, not just emasculation. So it's really the whole kit and caboodle when it comes to men. Now, the bonus of joining this round only is this round only of Be a Lover Not a Mother is live. all the previous, like when you get it afterwards and when it's available afterwards, it's only pre-recorded. That means that you cannot ask me questions. The Facebook group it's going to be active for like you guys to share and to share wins and all that and connect. The Facebook group is not for Q&A. The calls are for Q&A. So if you join it when it's recorded, you will not be able to ask questions. So I highly recommend that you join the live round. Even if you can only come to one call, you might as well, because you at least then get one chance to ask questions where you won't in the future rounds. So and even the recorded version of the program is going to be the same price. So it's not like it's going to be cheaper or anything. And I've made it one of my lowest cost offerings simply because I want as many of you as possible to access this, because not only is it so fucking important for the mental health of men, it's also really fucking important for you and your future sons and all the men in your lives. Like, this shit is important if you want a son one day, or if you have a son. It's really fucking important for your husband, for your partner, for every single man in your life, for your co-workers. It's going to empower so many people. Like, watch your world change around you. It's just going to be amazing. And so many men are going to feel so fucking safe around you. And that is a blessing as the feminine, to be like, wow, I get to be this safe space for men to come and share what's going on. And that's awesome for them, and it's also awesome for you. Like, for all you know, ladies, you could save like lives. I'm not even joking. You could save lives by doing this, because men feel like they have a safe space to come to if shit's going on for them in their lives. Thank you. So I think that's pretty much everything about the program that I wanted to share with you guys. Any questions, feel free to send me a DM, but it is different to Queen Alchemy and to all my other programs. So don't feel like there's an overlap. And I would really highly recommend that you come to this live round, only because you get to ask questions. So you're going to get like a bit more out of it than if you just do the recorded calls. And it's also going to be fucking vibe. And please send me all the vibes for Switzerland and for us getting through the borders in 2 weeks' time. Okay, someone asked a question before that I wanted to quickly answer. What was it? Any other questions? Let me know, guys. Okay, my ego and my heart feel two opposite ways about this whole talk, which means I probably need to take the course. Yes, love that you're speaking on this. So this shit is really, really triggering for your ego. But when you feel it in your heart, like, my heart breaks talking about this stuff, guys. When I'm reading the answers to my survey, my heart breaks for this stuff. And I get that your ego is like, nah, fuck Monica right now. I understand if some of you are like, fuck Monica right now, want to unfollow me. It's triggering shit. The old me absolutely would have been like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, men are assholes. Like, I 100% would have been that woman. But that is just your sign of like, man, you need to heal this shit. Because the question is like, do you want to live the rest of your life in your head thinking about the opposite sex in that kind of way? Like, every time you walk past a man, subconsciously being like, oh, fuck him. Or every time a man does something like wrong to you, quote unquote, you're like, see, what a dickhead. That's not a way to live your life. That is just so draining on your energy. So that's really the question for you guys to ask as well, if you're wondering. All right, guys. Well, it was lovely to check in and to give you some chicken nuggets. I hope that you all got some value out of today's call. Any questions, please let me know. Send me a DM or an email. You can email hello@monicayates.com.au, A as in A Australia. And with any questions, you can email Sarah and she will answer them. So yeah, I hope to see some more of you join. I'm already so fucking over the moon for all of you that have joined. It's just like my heart bursts for every single one of you that's joining, because I'm just like knowing how much of an impact this is going to have in not just your lives, but all the men around you. And that makes me so fucking happy. Like, we are doing this for the men and for us, which is amazing. It's not even just about us now. It's about the people around us. So have a lovely day, guys, or have a lovely evening. Please send us all the vibes for getting over the border. But we have a while. We have 2 weeks till we go. You guys will know when we're going. And I will see you guys very shortly. Bye.